Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You know how sometimes you find yourself craving a snack late at night, even when you know you're not really hungry?
Oh, yeah. Happens to the best of us.
Well, tonight, we're going to uncover the science behind those late night cravings. And we'll be looking at a fascinating article from Brigham and Women's Hospital called Clockwork Cravings: How Your Body Clock Fuels Late Night Hunger. We're going to explore the link between our internal body clock, our weight, and those pesky eating habits.
It's a really interesting area of research, especially when you consider how big of a problem obesity has become.
You're right. The article starts by highlighting this really shocking statistic. By 2030, almost half of all Americans could be obese. And of course, obesity leads to all sorts of health problems: diabetes, heart disease, even cancer.
It's a serious issue. And this study goes beyond just blaming bad habits or lack of sleep. They really wanted to zero in on the circadian system, our internal body clock.
So it's not just about what we eat, but when we eat.
Exactly. And the study focused specifically on adolescence, which is such a crucial time because the habits they form now can have huge long-term impacts on their health.
Makes sense. I remember being a teenager, snacking was practically a competitive sport.
It's a time of massive growth and development. And those eating habits we develop during those years can really set the stage for our future.
Okay, so how did they actually do this study? Did they lock a bunch of teenagers in a lab and monitor their every bite?
Pretty much. They created this super controlled environment. Dim lighting, no clocks,
Yeah.
standardized meals, all to eliminate any external factors that might influence their eating habits.
Wow, talk about dedication to science. So what did they find? What's the headline here?
Well, one of the biggest findings was that teenagers with overweight or obesity ate way more calories in the evening compared to their healthy weight peers.
So late night snacking is even worse for you if you're already carrying extra weight.
Well, it's a little more complicated than that. It wasn't just about bad habits or poor sleep schedules. The study showed a direct link between this increased evening eating and their circadian rhythms.
So our bodies are basically programmed to make us eat more at night, especially if we're predisposed to weight gain.
In a way, yes. This study really shines a light on something we've suspected. For a while now, our biological clocks have a huge influence on how much we eat and when.
So maybe those late night cravings aren't just about willpower. There's a biological component at play here. This is blowing my mind.
It is pretty mind-blowing, and it really underscores how important it is to understand this complex system that's working behind the scenes.
Okay, I'm starting to see how big this is, but before we go any further, I think I need a little refresher on how the circadian system actually works. Can you break it down for us?
Sure. Think of it as this intricate network of clocks throughout your body. They're constantly working to prepare you for the different phases of the day and night.
So it's like our bodies are running on a 24-hour schedule.
Precisely. It affects everything from your sleep-wake cycle to hormone production to body temperature.
Okay, that makes sense. So is that why some people are morning people and others are night owls?
Exactly. Everyone's circadian rhythm is a little bit different. It's influenced by your genes, your behaviors, and your environment.
Fascinating. So this study is saying that those individual differences can impact our eating habits and potentially contribute to weight gain.
That's right. And it opens up a whole new way of thinking about how we approach weight management.
This is all starting to make sense, but here's a question. Does being overweight affect your circadian rhythm? Or is it the other way around? It's like the chicken or the egg. Which came first?
That's a great question. And honestly, this study doesn't definitively answer that. It's an area that definitely needs more research.
I can see how this would be a tough one to untangle.
It definitely is. But even without a clear answer to that question, this study opens up some really exciting possibilities for the future.
Okay, I am all ears. What kind of possibilities?
Well, think about this. What if we could create personalized diets based on your own unique circadian rhythm?
Whoa. Instead of just a generic eat this, not that approach.
Exactly. We could have strategies that actually work with your body's natural rhythms instead of fighting against them.
I love that idea. So instead of white-knuckling it through those late-night cravings, we could have strategies that actually address the root cause.
Precisely. And this research could have implications far beyond just weight loss. Imagine new ways to manage other health conditions by understanding how our circadian systems impact our eating.
This is making me rethink my whole relationship with food.
It's a fascinating area. And this study is really just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to learn.
I agree. And it's so hopeful to think about the potential for personalized healthcare based on each person's unique circadian rhythm.
Absolutely. It really highlights how crucial it is to understand how our bodies work on an individual level.
We've been talking a lot about the science, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what this means for us in our everyday lives. How can we use this information to make healthier choices?
That's a great question. I think the first step is awareness. Start paying attention to your own eating patterns. When do you feel hungry? When do you crave certain foods? See if you notice any connection to your sleep schedule or your daily routine.
Like if I always get the urge to snack around 10 p.m., even though I ate dinner at 7, could that be my circadian rhythm?
It's definitely possible. It's all about tuning in to those signals your body is sending you and trying to figure out what they mean.
That's a good point. It's so easy to just ignore those cravings or try to fight them off. But maybe we should be listening to them instead.
Exactly. Instead of seeing them as the enemy, try to understand what they're telling you about what your body needs.
Okay. So how do we actually put this into practice? Any advice for someone who wants to start working with their body clock instead of against it?
One simple thing you can try is adjusting your meal times. If you tend to overeat late at night, maybe try eating dinner a bit earlier. Or if you're always starving by lunchtime, maybe you need a bigger breakfast or a mid-morning snack.
That makes sense. So we're kind of syncing our schedules to our internal clocks.
That's the idea.
But
And it's not just about timing, it's also about what you're eating.
Yeah.
If you know you're prone to those late night cravings, make sure you have some healthy snacks on hand so you don't end up reaching for the junk food.
Oh man, I am so guilty of those late night ice cream runs. It's like my willpower just vanishes after dinner.
We've all been there. But the good news is, the more you pay attention to your body's cues and make adjustments to support your circadian rhythm, the easier it becomes to make healthy choices.
It's like we're retraining our brains and our bodies to work together.
Exactly. And the more we learn about this powerful circadian system, the more we realize how much potential we have to improve our health and well-being.
Well, this has been an eye-opening deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of my body and my eating habits.
That's great to hear. And remember, this is still a relatively new area of research, but it holds so much promise for the future of personalized healthcare.
It's amazing to think we might one day have personalized nutrition plans based on our unique circadian rhythms.
Imagine a world where we're working in harmony with our bodies instead of constantly battling against them. That's what this research is pointing towards.
I love that. It's so empowering to realize we might have more control over our health than we think.
Absolutely. And I hope this deep dive has inspired you to start paying attention to your own circadian rhythm and think about how it might be impacting your overall well-being. It really is. And you know what else is exciting? This research could lead to some really cool new tools and technologies.
Oh, like what?
Well, imagine wearable devices that could track your circadian rhythm and then give you personalized feedback on when to eat, when to sleep, even when to exercise.
That would be incredible. It's like having a personal health coach right on your wrist.
Exactly. And it could be a game changer for people who struggle with things like weight management or insomnia.
So instead of relying on generic advice, we could have strategies that are tailored to our individual needs.
Precisely. It's all about harnessing the power of our own biology to optimize our health and well-being.
This is seriously blowing my mind. It feels like we're on the cusp of a whole new era of personalized healthcare.
I think you're right. And the more we learn about the circadian system, the more we realize how much potential it holds for improving our lives.
Well, this has been an absolutely fascinating deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much about this hidden world inside of us that's controlling so much more than we realize.
It's been a pleasure joining you on this journey, and I hope it sparks some curiosity in our listeners.
Me too. So, to everyone out there listening, we encourage you to pay attention to your own circadian rhythm and see how it might be influencing your eating habits, your sleep patterns, even your mood. You might be surprised at what you discover.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll all have personalized circadian-based health plans that help us live our healthiest, happiest lives.
That's a future I'm excited to see. Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the world of circadian rhythms. And until next time, stay curious.